Hey everybody, welcome back into this week's episode of Tony's Spot on Fishing. I'm your host, Tony Krizak. And today, we know we just fished Blackwell once before with the boat, kept chasing walleyes and bass. With Father's Day right around the corner, we thought to ourselves, what better thing could we do than to show some opportunities for Dad and the kids to come out? So we're back here at Blackwell. We're actually fishing crappies today. And we're going to show you all the little tips, tricks, and techniques of how we can catch these fish. And let me tell you, there's some keeper-sized crappies here too. You got to weed through some of the smaller ones, but you get those keepers, you could have a nice little fish fry on Father's Day. And that's what we're going to be doing today, fishing crappies. Silver Lake at Blackwell. That's this week on Tony's Spot on Fishing. The first thing we're going to do, we set up these slip bobbers. The knot's going to come on that little tube like that. We're going to slide the line through our tube first and foremost, just like so. Now you're going to hold on to that plastic tubing, grab the knot, slide the tube out, and we're going to cinch it down. We don't have to make it real tight right now. We're going to slide that up. The next thing we do, we get one of these little beads that comes with our slip bobber packs. We'll slide that bead right on in. Thread on a slip bobber. Like so. All we're using are these little cubby mini mites. It's a little crappie jig. We can go ahead and tie that on. A lot of guys ask about what kind of knots I like to use. I do the polymer knot. It's one of the strongest, simplest, and easiest knots to do. Slide the line through. You're going to take the line, go right back through the eyelet where you came from. So we're doubling our line. We make an overhand knot just like when we're tying our shoes. We don't cinch it down all the way. The line's doubled. We slide the line or the bait through the loop, wet it just a bit, cinch it down. Clip the tag end off. And just to give it a little extra weight for the slip bobber, maybe about a foot or so above our jig, we're going to put a little split shot just to give it a little extra weight. We don't need to crimp it down real hard. So now we want to set our slip bobber probably about 3 to 4 feet. So we're going to slide that knot fairly close to position. And we can go ahead right now and cinch this down a little tighter. And we're going to go ahead and just trim off our tag ends of the bobber stop, the little knot there. And what's nice with the slip bobber, that knot will go right through your guides and you can get better distance and fish a bobber at a deeper depth. And that is all there is to setting up this rig. We can go catch them. Let's show you exactly how we're fishing this thing. We cast it out, give it just a couple seconds for that jig and the split shot to pull down so the bobber reaches its stop. And just real light twitches, a little flick of the wrist. And we want a little bit of slack in the line when we're doing this because we don't want the bobber moving all that much. But we just want to be able to dance it. And sometimes they want it shaken and then pause. Play around, integrate, different pauses to your retrieve. Sometimes they want long pauses, sometimes they want short. You're gonna have to play around and see exactly what you want. But especially with no wind, we don't want that bait just sitting still. It's just a plastic jig or a plastic body on a jig head. It's not gonna swim around, it's not gonna have any action. Now we could straight line it, just the jig, and swim it. And we've caught crappies that way too. But what's nice is we can use that slip bobber and suspend it on the weed edge. Now we're on one of the piers, the actual fishing piers here, but you can do this on pretty much any of the weed edges around Blackwell. Pretty much every weed edge has crappies on it. And what's nice about being on the piers is you can cast parallel down the weed edges and work them so much more effectively. But just these little twitches and integrate the pauses. Now, crappies, you know, you may see that bobber just dance one time. Actually, I just had it there and too busy talking. As soon as you see that bobber twitch, you gotta set the hook. They're not gonna sit there and hold on to this bait. So you gotta be quick about it. You see that bobber twitch and you didn't make it twitch, you have got to give them a hook set. Now crappies have pretty paper thin lips, so we don't need to do a real big hard set here, just kind of lean into them. And you have to get your timing down with it. Sometimes when they're very aggressive, that bobber will go straight down, you got a little more time. Other times they just kind of come up and nip it. You just gotta be ready. A lot of concentration. As soon as that thing twitches, just pop them. You'd be surprised, you'll get some bonus really big bluegills here too with this retrieve and this plastic. And the bluegills and crappies both very safe to eat out of Blackwell. You don't have to worry about anything. Water is crystal clear out here. We've had many fish dinners, crappies and bluegills, plus even the trout in the spring and fall out here. Perfectly safe. Just missed them. Now, another thing too, we're using 6-pound P-line CX. Now, crappies are very line shy. The nice thing about the P-line CX, it's a fluorocarbon coated monofilament. So it cuts down a lot on the glare and the visibility in the water. If you're not running a P-line CX, and I really don't recommend going all fluorocarbon on a spinning reel, if you're not running the P-line CX and you're running a different mono, it's probably a good idea to tie in a fluorocarbon leader, just 4-pound, 6-pound at the most. This way they don't see that line, because they'll get line shy on you real quick. And light action rod to a medium light, something with a nice soft tip to it so you can throw the slip bobber. It's a very light setup. Longer the rod, a little better casting distance you get, you can cover more water on a retrieve. And as far as limits go out here, the limits at Blackwell for the crappies, they used to be a minimum length of 9 inches and 15 per person at 9 inches. They've dropped the whole 9-inch thing. Now, we want to do kind of a selective harvest. We don't really want to do, you know, take the little potato chip sized crappies, and, you know, we're not necessarily going to take all the big slabs either, but we want that, you know, 9 to 10 inch range. Right there is going to be perfect. Let some of the bigger ones go. The bigger crappies will make more big crappies. So there's no size limit, but you can take 15 of them. Bluegills, same thing. There's no size limit, but you can take 25 now. There never used to be a limit on the gills. There is now. And the Forest Preserve will check. You know, they're doing their job. They keep an eye on things. Look at that, I got a little bass. Little largemouth was playing with it. Come on. Oh, he came off. Well, there was our first crappie there. First little crappie of the morning. Not very big, like I say. He's a little too small for keeping, so we're going to go ahead and put him back. And there are white crappie and black crappie both in Blackwell. And those limits, it's a combo. It's not, you know, 15 white crappies, 15 black crappies. It's a combination of for that limit. So when you do get the keeper size ones, you know, keep that in mind. Really little. We're going the wrong direction here, guys. We're getting smaller. I can see the jig, and this water's so clear. And had a real nice slab crappie come up and nip at it, and I just missed it. And I was hoping that one would come right back, but that little guy grabbed my jig instead. That's okay. We'll get him. All right, guys. Now we're really going the wrong way here. We're trying to talk about keeper crappies, and we're getting smaller here by the fish. What's going on here, guys? Look at that camera guy. Puts the camera down for a second. Catches a nice little crappie.
There you go. Keeping?
Yeah, that's a keeper. We just filled a little bucket up with water there. Look at that. The camera guy's on him again.
That one did take it down all the way too. That one just took it. No questions.
What we want to do right now is show you just a little quick tutorial on how we can fillet some of these crappies should you get a few keepers. Pull that pectoral fin up with a nice sharp knife. We're just going to make a cut right there. We can take our fillet knife, just turn it. It'll come right down the fillet just like that, nice and slow, right to the tail. Cut that piece off. We can flip the crappie over. We're going to do the exact same thing on this side. Move that pectoral fin up. Make a slice. And always remember, cut away from yourself. You never want to cut towards yourself. It's a good way to get hurt. Pull it right off the rib bones there. There we go. You can go ahead and dispose of that carcass. Now, if you feel any of those Y bones, that second fillet we were able to get them out. This one, there's still a little bit of bone fragment right there. We're going to take the knife, come in right on the edge of it. Just going to cut that piece out. That's all hard bone there. Now we'll take our knife. We come right in here. We follow it right along the skin. We're going to take that fillet right off of there. What I'm going to do, got a little bit of fresh water, just give it a quick rinse. And then this is a saltwater bath. And we want to use that saltwater bath because that's going to actually take out some of that fish flavor. Now, some people may say use milk or use cream, but I found that that salt water really gets a lot of that fish flavor, or the intense fish flavor, out of it. We'll just soak it just for a few minutes. Really not even that long, just about a minute or so is all you need. You can dispose of the skin. And just like that, we'll give them a quick rinse in the clean stuff. And there we go. A couple nice crappie fillets there. Bread them up, deep fry them, and that is some good eating. Oh man, come on now. Getting shown up here by the camera guy, all I'm getting are these little guys. But you know what? We're still catching fish.
I was just thinking that the camera guy is beating him.
Nope, another little guy. At least we're getting a little bigger. My confidence is coming back. Not by much. But they couldn't get much smaller than the last one.
Well, that's 2 for me.
That's chartreuse. Mike's running that chartreuse cubby mini mite, and I'm using a whitehead. Yeah, he's just a little shy.
But if you already had many in the bucket, I would say go ahead and take that. But
yeah, just that chartreuse one, and I was running that clear with the white head to it. 2 pretty contrasting colors, that's for sure. A little better. Now we're going the right direction there. That one's not too bad, but still just a hair small. Actually, on this pier, they kind of knotted off around 9 inches, and you can see from this line to that line, you're looking at probably about 7. So we're going to go ahead and let her back. Like I said, there's no actual size anymore limit to them. You're just 15 fish. But really, I mean, you're not going to get good fillets off a little guy like that. Let them grow up. There's just no reason to catch or keep every single crappie, you know. It's got to be worth it. Hold still, little guy. Again, just shy of that keeper size. You know, I'll tell you, what's really cool about doing this, especially with the kids, you know, everybody kind of thinks about just come out throwing a bobber and live bait. But, you know, how many times do you have it where you throw a night crawler or a red worm and the worm goes flying one way and the little bluegills are pecking, you're going through bait left and right. This is a great option for, you know, the dad and the kids or any families just to come on down, fish a jig and plastic under the bobber like this. You'll catch a ton of crappies. It'll keep the kids interested too because they're not just watching for that bobber, they're actually going to work some baits. And because they got to work them, it's going to keep their interest a little more. It's a really good idea to do with the kids. Right in the corner of the mouth. Pretty colorings on them too. They got a little bit of gold, green, the white to them. Man, I'll tell you, once they really turn on, I mean, it has just been non-stop those last couple in a row here. Another little teeny guy there. I'll tell you, it's kind of wild watching some of these fish cruise around. You can spot the bigger crappies. And so far, it's been every time you'll see that crappie, the bigger slab come up and start honing in on that jig. And these little guys are just coming in, crashing it. But you know what? They're here. You just got to, like I say, you got to weed through some of those small guys. Yeah, nice crappie right there. Just a hair small though, you know, just for conversation's sake, again. Yeah, right about that 7-inch, 8-inch mark. Now, when you're fishing these crappies, we're running them that slip float at about 3 feet right now. That's a good starting position. You don't want to really go any deeper than that right off the bat. Crappies feed up. So if you go deeper sooner, a lot of times you're not going to get these fish to bite at all. They're always going to feed in that up position. So about 3 feet is a good starting depth at that slip bobber. As the sun comes up more and it's getting warmer and the lights, especially if you got a bluebird day like today, you know, if we were to be out here in the next couple hours, we're going to start to slowly want to drop that jig down a little deeper. But for right now, they're still very active, very aggressive, and feeding up. So always start shallow and work your way down with these fish. Whoops, come here. That's a little better one there, getting a little thicker. We're going to go ahead and let him go though. I'll tell you, it's just that little mini mite. Like I say, it's almost a clear plastic with just that white head. Oh my goodness gracious, what is going on here? Our camera guy's got a rod out. Oh, that is a tiny one for the camera guy. The rolls have reversed now.
yours didn't make the film.
Look at that one. That's a keeper. But yeah, these fish are Again, white or clear with that white head, that chartreuse pattern. I don't think color makes a huge difference in these fish. I think it's just that overall size of the mini mite and the action to it as we're just twitching it. And a lot of times now, being even a little closer in, it's not even so much that we're even watching the bobber, because this water's so clear, you can actually see the jig. And we're able to get hook sets into these fish as soon as we see them grab it. And there's a couple of them looking at it right now. There we go. That's a little guy. We're going the wrong way again. Boy, he is super light in color too. There we go. But yeah, I mean, we are literally pitching it right off the corner here. Look at that. Instantly, they're right there. A little twitch. Give it a pause. Ooh, following right up to it. Come on. Pitch back in there. Seems real close up, or more of those little guys. Let that jig settle. Now, like I say, you may see that bobber go straight down. You may see it just do a little twitch. You may see it just start running to one side. But if you're not watching your jig and you're only watching your bobber, the minute you see it make a movement and you didn't do it, you have got to be lightning quick on putting a hook in them, because they will not hold on to it for very long.
Little might be closer than you think.
Yeah, that's a keeper.
That's it?
That's a keeper.
Hey. Look at that.
Camera guy coming through with a real nice one.
We'll just throw it on the board. Oh yeah, just about 8.
Here, come here. There we go. Another nice one there. Go ahead, throw him in on the bucket there. Nothing like a nice little crappie dinner. Well, tell you what, folks. That's 6 fish here, 6 keepers. Like I say, we've caught dozens between my cameraman and myself, just messing around out here on these low plastics. Now we're out on the pier here. We're very lucky today. It's not a busy day at Blackwell. It's uncommon for this pier to be completely empty. So if you're on any of the fishing piers here, there's 2 of them, one by the boat ramp, one across the lake. That's the one we're at. Be courteous of other anglers that are coming out. We don't want to be crossing lines and fighting over fish. There's plenty of crappies around here. You don't even have to be on the piers to be honest about it. You can just walk the shores, pitching these stuff right on the weed edges, and you'll catch tons of crappies. So I'll tell you what, for Father's Day, bring the kids on out here. It'll be an absolute blast. And we'd like to take this time to wish all the fathers out there a very, very happy Father's Day from everyone, Blue Brine Michaels Entertainment, and myself included. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Tony Krizek, and we'll see you next time on Tony's Spot on Fishing.